Long ago, in a quiet village hidden between the green ridges of Kirinyaga, where morning mist clung to the hills and the river whispered secrets to those who listened, there lived a girl named Wanjiku. Wanjiku was not like the other girls in the village. While others laughed freely, braided each other's hair under mango trees, and sang as they fetched water, Wanjiku walked alone. Not by choice, but because no one dared walk beside her. The villagers believed she was cursed. It began on the night she was born. The elders would later say that the wind had howled in a strange way, circling her grandmother's hut as if carrying unseen voices. A black owl had perched on the roof and cried 3 times before disappearing into the darkness. By morning, word had already spread across the village. This child carries something unnatural, Mzee Gichohi, the village diviner, had declared after throwing his bones and reading the signs. From that moment, Wanjiku's life was sealed by fear that did not belong to her. She lived with her grandmother, Nyokabi, in a small hut at the far edge of the village where the land dipped slightly and the soil turned rough. Their home was simple, patched together with old mud and dried grass, leaning slightly as if tired from years of standing against harsh seasons. Despite their poverty, Nyokabi tried her best to raise Wanjiku with love. She taught her how to cook, how to gather firewood, how to respect elders, and how to pray quietly when the world felt heavy. But no matter how much goodness Wanjiku carried in her heart, the village only saw the shadow they believed followed her. Strange things seemed to happen wherever she went. When she passed by a homestead, milk would sometimes spoil before it could be boiled. Chickens would scatter wildly as if startled by something unseen. Children who played near her would suddenly cry and run away, clinging to their mothers. Once, a kind girl named Akinyi ignored the warnings and shared roasted maize with Wanjiku near the river. They laughed softly, speaking like ordinary girls for the first time. But the next morning, Akinyi's family cow was found dead without a mark on its body. The whispers grew louder after that. Another day, Wanjiku helped a woman carry a heavy bundle of firewood. That same night, the woman's kitchen caught fire without explanation. Though no one saw how it began, everyone knew to blame. Fear spread faster than truth. People stopped greeting her. Traders at the market refused her money, placing goods on the ground instead of handing them directly to her. Some even crossed to the other side of the path when they saw her approaching. Wanjiku learned to lower her eyes and walk quickly. She spoke little and stayed close to home, carrying a quiet sadness that grew heavier with each passing day. One evening, as the sky turned deep orange and shadows stretched across the land, Nyokabi called Wanjiku to sit beside her near the fire. The old woman's face looked tired, her eyes carrying the weight of something long hidden. "There is something I have kept from you," Nyokabi said slowly. Wanjiku looked at her, sensing the seriousness in her voice. "Before you were born, I wronged someone, a woman feared across many villages. Her name was Mamanjeri wa Kivuli." Wanjiku felt a chill run through her. Nyokabi continued, her voice trembling slightly. "We quarreled over something small, but pride made it grow into something dangerous. In anger, she cursed me. She said my bloodline would suffer and that my first granddaughter would carry a burden no one would understand." Wanjiku's throat tightened. "That is me." Nyokabi nodded slowly. "She said misfortune would follow your steps and people would fear you, but she also said the curse was not permanent." Wanjiku leaned closer. "How can it end?" Nyokabi hesitated before answering. "She said only love that is true and fearless could break it. Someone must choose you fully, knowing what follows you, and refuse to leave." The words settled heavily between them. Wanjiku looked down at her hands. Who would ever choose me? Nyokabi had no answer. Days turned to weeks, and weeks turned to months. Nothing changed. The village remained distant, and Wanjiku continued her quiet life on the edge of everything. Until one day, a stranger arrived. His name was Kamau. He came from Nyeri looking for work and a fresh start. He was tall, with a calm presence that made people listen when he spoke. Unlike others, his eyes did not carry suspicion, they carried curiosity. The first time Kamau saw Wanjiku was by the river. She was trying to balance a pot of water on her head when her foot slipped on a wet stone. The pot fell and shattered, the sound echoing sharply across the water. Wanjiku froze, her heart racing. She knew what usually followed. People would shout, insult her, or quickly move away. But Kamau did not do any of those things. Instead, he stepped closer. "Are you hurt?" he asked gently. Wanjiku looked at him, confused. "You should not come near me." "Why?" he asked. She hesitated, then spoke quietly. "Because I bring bad luck." Kamau glanced at the broken pot, then back at her. "That looks like a slippery stone, not bad luck." She stared at him, unsure if he was serious. From that moment, something began to shift. Kamau did not avoid her. He greeted her whenever he saw her. He offered to help her carry water and even walked with her part of the way home. At first, Wanjiku tried to keep her distance, afraid that something terrible would happen to him. But Kamau was persistent in a quiet, respectful way. They began to talk more often, by the river, under trees, along narrow paths that wound through the village. For the first time in her life, Wanjiku felt seen as a person, not a problem. And slowly, something even more surprising began to happen. The strange misfortune seemed to lessen. Milk did not spoil as often, animals did not react with fear. The air around her felt lighter, as if something unseen was loosening its grip. But the village noticed Kamau's closeness to Wanjiku, and fear began to shift towards him. "He does not know what he is inviting into his life," people whispered. Warnings followed him wherever he went. Elders advised him to stay away. Women shook their heads in concern. But Kamau remained unchanged. "I judge people by what I see, and I see no evil in her," he would say. Wanjiku's heart, once guarded, slowly opened. She found herself smiling more, laughing even, something she had almost forgotten how to do. But what neither of them knew was that the curse had not disappeared. It had only been waiting. One night, the sky darkened earlier than usual. Heavy clouds gathered and a strong wind swept through the village, rattling doors and bending trees. By midnight, a violent storm had begun. Thunder roared across the hills and rain fell in thick sheets. The village felt restless, as if something deeper than weather was moving through it. That same night, Kamau fell ill. His body burned with fever and his strength faded quickly. By morning, he could barely stand. Concerns spread, and soon the elders were called. Mzee Gichohi examined him carefully, his face growing more serious with each passing moment. "This is not a normal illness," he said. "The curse has awakened." The villagers did not need further explanation. They turned towards Wanjiku. "You see what you have done," some said. "You have brought this upon him." The words cut deeper than any blade. Wanjiku felt the weight of every fear, every whisper, every accusation she had carried since birth. Without saying a word, she ran. She ran past the huts, past the fields, past the edge of the village into the forest where the trees grew thick and the air felt heavy with secrets. She knew where she needed to go. Deep within the forest, where few dared to enter, lived Mamanjeri wa Kivuli. Wanjiku found her beneath a twisted tree, her presence calm yet powerful. "So, you have come," the old woman said, her voice steady. Wanjiku fell to her knees. "Please, I beg you, spare him. Take anything from me, but let him live." The old woman studied her carefully. "The curse was never meant to kill, it was meant to test." "Test what?" Wanjiku asked desperately. "Whether love can exist where fear has been planted," the woman replied. Wanjiku's throat tightened. "Then end it, please." The old woman leaned closer. "The curse can only be broken if someone chooses you completely, not out of pity, not out of ignorance, but with full knowledge of what follows